Have you ever wondered why it feels so hard to move forward even when you desperately want to? Why some goals sit untouched and you keep circling back to the same patterns? That's resistance. But it's not just procrastination or laziness. It's much deeper than that. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden roots of your resistance. And by the end of this video, you'll know why resistance shows up and how to recognize its lessons and the first steps to move through it. And if you missed the first video of this 4-part series, go check it out. I actually talk about how to make space for real growth by ditching those typical New Year's resolutions and trying something that actually works. All right, let's get deep into the roots of resistance. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Francis. I'm a clinical therapist and a plant medicine integration coach. My mission in life is to provide you with the tools and the guidance so that you can positively transform your life one tiny step at a time. Resistance is more than just a hesitation. It's that tiny voice that says, what if I fail? Or what if I'm not truly ready? It's the subtle pull that keeps you scrolling on your phone instead of starting that thing that you know you need to do. I'm sure this sounds familiar, but here's the truth. Your brain is wired to protect you from the unknown because biologically, my friend, the unknown feels like danger. When you think about making a change, whether it's pursuing a dream, reconnecting with yourself, or even stepping into a new chapter in your life, your brain asks, is this safe? And if it feels risky, even emotionally, it triggers resistance. But here's the catch. Safety doesn't always mean growth. What protects you can also trap you. Maybe you've been avoiding reaching out to someone you really care about because maybe you're afraid of rejection, or you keep delaying a creative project because it feels a bit overwhelming. Resistance isn't random. It's showing up because you're on the edge of something incredibly meaningful and powerful. In a spiritual sense, resistance is like the guardian at the threshold. It appears when you're standing at the edge of something big, asking, are you ready for this? Think of it like walking in pure darkness with absolute trust. Resistance isn't a wall, it's a doorway. And the key to opening it is faith in yourself. Listen, resistance has been the bane of my existence. It's still a dance that I do to this day. And as we work through this video and the ones to come, you'll start to see it too. And I'm not going to pretend I've mastered it. There have been plenty of times when resistance won. I remember a long time ago, I had my website up, and instead of launching it, I just left it sitting there with one of those maintenance mode landing pages. You know, the kind that says, we're working on it. Well, mine sat like that for a year, maybe even longer. Then one day I got an email and it was from someone anonymous. It had no name, no explanation, only 2 words, just start. And I froze. My heart raced and my mind started to go in all kinds of directions. I'm like, yo, who is this person calling me out like this? A stranger somewhere out there had seen something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And I stared at those 2 words, just start, and felt this wave of discomfort and relief all at once. It was exactly what I needed, even if I didn't want to admit it. Here's the truth. I resist for the same reasons you probably do. Fear of being seen, fear of being judged, fear of failure, fear of investing a bunch of time in something that might not work. And then there's this deeper fear, the one that says, what if I'm not enough? I know this has to sound a tad bit familiar to you, but here's what I've learned. Fear doesn't just go away. Sometimes it lingers, waiting to pull you back. And with each stage in your life, it's slightly different as you level up. The difference for me now, my purpose is louder than my fear. And I don't always like to use the word purpose, but sort of like my mission, my assignment here on earth, the thing that I feel most connected to creating feels way bigger than that fear. And that's what keeps me moving forward. It's knowing that one person, that one comment, that one email that says, I needed to hear this today. There's this metaphor that I carry with me. It came from when I lived in Japan and visited the Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. And if you've ever been there, you know it's famous for its steps. 12,000 of them to be exact. I remember standing at the bottom and looking up thinking, ooh, wow, that's a lot of steps. The place was packed with tourists, of course, cameras snapping everywhere, people getting their selfies on. But as I started climbing, something strange began to happen. I looked around me and the crowds started to thin away. There were fewer people that kept going. And by the time that I reached the top, there were hardly any of us left. And that's when it hit me. This is life. Most people stop halfway. They turn back when it gets too hard, when the crowd thins out, or when the view ahead of them isn't really guaranteed. But the ones who keep climbing, step by step, are the ones who discover something extraordinary, the person they're capable of becoming. You have a choice. Stay where it's comfortable, but stagnant, or take one shaky step forward and start expanding into the version of yourself you've always wanted to be, the one that you're meant to be. One path shrinks you, the other path grows you exponentially. The question is, which one will you choose? It's really not the giant leaps that change your life. It's the tiny, courageous steps that no one sees but you. Each one stretches you. It teaches you. It expands you. Remember, this is how you create the version of yourself, the life that you've always wanted. So the question is, what's your next step? Don't worry. I got you, right? We're all in this together. Fighting resistance, doing the dance, I should say. Well, the first step isn't sexy at all, but you can't skip this one. The first step is to recognize resistance without judgment. Instead of thinking, why am I like this? Ask yourself, what is this resistance trying to protect me from? Because once you accept it, you can actually work with it. Resistance feels challenging because it's deeply tied to our nervous system. Remember earlier I mentioned that it's tied to the wiring of our brains? When you've been in survival mode for too long, constantly pushing, striving in this sort of hyper-vigilant state, stepping into growth feels actually really unsafe. Your body has learned to associate change with threat. And that's why even small steps can feel so heavy and pretty terrifying. How often do you choose comfort over challenge? Resistance says, stay here. It's easier over here. But the truth is, we've already learned that comfort zones are not safe. They're actually detrimental to your health. They keep you from moving forward, and they create a false sense of security while slowly shrinking away every inch of your potential. So as much as everything feels like a threat, the biggest threat to your life is remaining unchanged. Just as the tides ebb and flow, so do our lives. Resistance is the ebb, the pause before the flow. It's not a roadblock. It's a signal to slow down, to realign, and prepare for what's next. As Socrates said it best, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So allowing resistance to consume your life actually puts more strain on you, and it drains your energy. It leaves you feeling anxious, disconnected, and stuck. But what if resistance wasn't a dead end, but a bridge? A bridge that does feel shaky and uncertain at times, but leads you to the next level of your life. So how do you move through resistance? The first step we mentioned earlier was to acknowledge its presence. Stop pretending it's not there. It's there. We either deny or suppress, but admit its presence in your life. The next step is to stop fighting it, accept it. Think of it as a teacher showing you what needs your attention. Acceptance isn't resignation. It's about surrendering in a way that allows you to reclaim your power. Right now, you're giving resistance all of your power. So ask yourself, what's one story I'm telling myself about why I can't move forward? Often that story will reveal a distorted fear or belief system that's keeping you stuck. All right, grab a notebook and write this down. You've probably already been taking notes already. If you were taking notes, kudos to you, because healing is not passive. Healing is actually pretty active in different ways and different intensities. So write this down. If I take this step and it doesn't go as planned, what could I learn from it? Shifting the focus from fear to curiosity takes the power away from resistance. It turns this perceived failure into an opportunity for growth. Week 2 of the Lighten Up checklist is perfect for this. It focuses on reconnecting with your body to regulate your nervous system. Practices like deep breathing, grounding, and gentle movement helps you shift out of survival mode and into a state of connection and empowerment. A lot of it is just stuck energy. So if you've already downloaded the checklist, then you've already gotten started. And if you need to download it, you can download it in the description below. But growth doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It can just start with one gentle step at a time. So as we are nearing the end, continue to discover where in your life resistance is showing up. Write it down, reflect on it, and take one small step today, just one, to move through it. Resistance doesn't have to control your story. You start small and you stay consistent with that small thing. So let this be the beginning of your breakthrough with this dance of resistance where you're the one leading and not it. Again, if you're ready to go deeper, download the 30 Days to Living Light and Emotional Free checklist, completely free. It's full of tools to help you release, reconnect, and create the space you need for growth, one tiny step at a time, one day at a time. And next week, we're diving deep into alignment, how to stop forcing change. I know some of y'all doing that. and start working with the natural rhythms of your life and your energy. Alignment, in my own opinion, is an act of rebellion because so many people are living out of alignment. So to live in alignment is a rebellious and courageous act. And when you do this, it really is a game changer for your life. And I can't wait to share more of that with you in the next video. Don't forget to leave in the comments below what's one story I'm telling myself about why I can't move forward. And when you share it with the community below in the comments, it truly helps the rest of the community feel less isolated, including yourself. If this video resonated with you, of course, hit the subscribe button, like, and share it with somebody who you think will find it useful. And I'll see you next week as we continue breaking through resistance, and I'll see you on the other side of change.